Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and this week I'm going to be working on a different substrate. It is a 12 by 12 inch panel, and I started 3 of these panels for another course with from another artist, and just things got too busy. I got so far and I just had to let them rest. And then they decided to go, as I'm showing you the panel. It isn't the solid birch all the way through. It's just I would have to say a more laminated piece, but these are fine because they're such a nice hard surface. As you can see, I've glued down some thick pieces of paper. I think I just used just anything I had around, thicker sketchbook, watercolor paper. I don't think I used watercolor paper because it's too absorbent. So I think I used poster board, anything with a shiny type of finish. Now, this is a very different piece with very different colors, and that is exactly why I chose them. Mind you, this piece is giving me a bit of a hard time, most likely because of the different sizes and patterns, the busyness that's going on. And you've seen my work, you know I like to start complex and then reduce. Well, when I'm working with something new, it's a bit overwhelming, as all of you can relate to when you're getting stuck, but knowing what it is, what isn't working, what isn't there, what is there, what's causing the imbalance, etc., etc. So I've been on this sort of this black. It's a feeling that I'm looking for. And I need to remember that if I'm wanting that feeling of a dark value, it doesn't necessarily have to be black. It can be Payne's gray, indigo, Prussian blue, but those are very powerful blues. So I'm looking to explore more about those blues on these same size panels in a more monochromatic color palette. This is a simple palette, though it's not monochromatic. It's just yellows, an ochre, Titan buff, red, and I really didn't put a lot of blue on the work, even though you can see it there in my palette, the turquoise and or manganese that I've been working with. And right now, I am adding some interest, trying to think of maintaining this circle theme in many different ways. As you can see, I have the white circles that I ended up, the 3, 6, 9, but they're right in the middle, this great big yellow rectangle, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I do with it? I seem to be working around it rather than dealing with it. And I'm not sure, I know the idea of adding the black in the upper left-hand corner to balance that great big thick black. But looking around, and this is where I'll go and look at other works for their different shapes. What have they done? What do I see? What could be underneath that they did and then they ended up covering it up, either with opaque or translucent layers. So I know this piece, I know I'm wanting a number. And the numbers, I'm thinking of not so much the meaning or the numerological meaning of the number. It's really the shape that I'm looking for. What's the opposite of all these circles? Well, this really angular kind of shape in the number 4. And what I'm playing with is finding, I probably didn't use a thick enough white and a dry enough sponge to get a really nice crisp edge. But I didn't really care at this point. I just wanted to see what this shape would look like in the lower right-hand corner. So as I continue with these makeup sponges that I get from, I think, the dollar store, and they're great, and I'm running low, so I've got to head out and get some more. It's not bad. It's extremely high contrast, but when you use white, you can always just let it dry and then go in with stains or very transparent paints like manganese or nicolazo. So it's there. It's not bad. I just don't know what to do with it, so I decide to wipe it off before it dries. Now, in order to do this without ruining, because that lower right-hand corner has gone through a lot and still is, because I'm still trying different things. I'm just not liking it. So I'm just apply some black back over it, let it dry, and then I apply the heavy medium gloss, a thin layer to it. So if there's anything that I want to put on there, I can, and then if I don't like it, it wipes away without interfering with the black. Now, as you can see in the beginning of this work, I start to do something with that circle there, that half circle. And I'm looking for blue. It could have been white. I know taking things to the edge is a great idea, but it just depends on how these shapes relate to all the other shapes and areas and sizes, scale, all of these things. So that is just some collage paper that I made. Actually, no, it was a painting that I was experimenting with and I didn't like it, so I chopped it up, and I always use them as collage paper. But it's very thick, but that can be really good too. That's a nice contrast with the very thin deli wrap collage pieces. Now, I know I'm looking around for circles, and it ends up going in the middle of that. But that too, this is like, I end up covering this. So stay to the end. This is just part one of the piece that I'm showing you. It has at least 3 or 4 layers before this video. And I just thought, well, it sat around, so I might as well tackle it as I'm getting a little bit better getting unstuck. But when I'm watching myself in a video, it's the best way to see, because I can step outside of my process, and I can see what's going on. Okay, so we've got the 8 ball. It's like, no, don't want that. I like that it made another color. It's relating to the red, but I feel the red is extremely overpowering in this piece, and all of that ends up getting covered up. So don't worry. Don't be attached to anything. So as you can see, I'm just trying, thinking about a texture, a pattern, a line. Now that would work, and I think I'm going to end up going back to my crackle pattern, just not in that spot or just below. I end up finding some wonderful paper that I really love because it has all the orange and peach, and it is amongst this stuff here. But unfortunately, it ends up being the odd man out and just doesn't go with the piece. So it's still on my piece now. I've gone ahead and gone to the 3rd pass so I can prepare my video for next week, which is much longer than this one. And I will definitely need a part 4 to finish up this piece. And wow, I find, and I know that some subscribers, when we get into a hot mess, yes, we do. But wow, when you can get out of it and still enjoy, get out of it and really remember that nothing's written in stone here. I can cover up everything. Now I'm really liking this blue. I don't know, it's very contrasty. It probably would have worked better darker. I don't even know if I like that big black area there. I don't even know if I like anything at this point. And that's how we can feel about a piece. But you know, just one layer at a time, one shape will then, okay, cause and effect. If I put that down, and this, I've painted this, if you looked up close at this piece, this circle has been so many colors. Gray would be a nice mid-tone. And you know, you've got to go through the list. Okay, do I have white? Do I have mid-tone? Do I have line? Shapes? Variety? Now, that would work too, but not so contrasty, because taking the circles, seeing this video now, the hard edged zigzag, it really adds a grating energy to this piece. And of course, this paint right here. And I know, leave a comment below if any of you, because I'm just learning how to use stencils. I love them, but using them neatly with a beautiful, crisp, neat edge. Let me know what kind of paints you use, and I love to read the comments. So as you can see, it's very tacky. It's a very inexpensive paint as well. So even if I chose gesso, it would have been interesting. Even if I use molding paste and left a texture, and then just let black be on black, but you can see this texture. There's a feeling there. There's an energy I'm looking for. I still haven't found it. Now, I like the part where the stencil is contrasting over on the yellow better than the white on the black. So that's interesting to keep in mind. Nope, that didn't work. So I'm trying to rub that off. I see that I'm delicately, without ruining that black,
Okay.
which I don't even know is going to stay.
Nothing down there.
And we'll see.
Maybe this.
Interesting piece. So I'm really liking the different sized circles. It has a wonderful circle theme going on. Why does that piece of collage work? Well, because it's similar in value. It's horizontal. It's line. It's a pattern, and it's a rough edge, not a hard edge. Maybe I don't have enough soft edges going on, especially in that black area, that irregular shape in the upper left-hand corner. And that changes too. I end up adding more black and white to this piece, because it seems to be calling for that. More black and white and less yellow. That's the other thing that you want to experiment with. The ratios of colors. The predominant color, the accent color, and just experimenting with that. That's really nice. Okay, so it has this. I really like that. It has a landscapey feel to it, but I do end up covering that big blue circle because the eye just stays on that. But that's okay. We'll work that out. So after I let it sit, I gathered some paints just to make sure I'm showing you the colors that I'm using: the cadmium red, the turquoise, the yellow oxide. After it just needed to sit for a while, and I was thinking about pink, and of course the wonderful orange. And I'm using Liquitex Basics. It's a nice heavy bodied paint, and good quality, and of course not nearly as expensive as Golden for this experimental type of work. So after letting it sit overnight, and thinking about what I want to do, what I like, what I don't like. There's that crackle, but now it's on paper. I know that dealing with this huge yellow piece of circles, I thought, well, why don't I put another layer, stick with the circle theme? That would have worked quite nicely as well, just covering it all together. So these are different sizes. This is the scrapbook paper that you can buy in sheets, and it's already black. So I thought, oh, what a great way to do some white on black. And that is jelly print paper with string and my rubber wedge that has notches in it. And you drag it across, and then you just lie the paper, and then there's this interesting little piece. So what I'm thinking after I've gone, and there's the beautiful blue. I just grabbed a whole bunch of things that caught my eye, and colors, and lines, and there's that little piece. I absolutely love the colors in this piece. And I do end up using it across the bottom. The red is so powerful. I find, see, that would have worked well too. I love doing this afterwards. And there's the deli wrap paper, just with some dry brush lines. There's that organic plant-shaped stencil girl stencil that I can't find the name of, so I'm sorry about that to the subscriber who has asked. It may be an older stencil, so I'll see if I can keep trying. Things are so busy now. And that is a deli wrap as well, with my typical, the spongy circle stamps that I've made. A flat 1-inch brush, other brushes getting different stripes going on. That would work, covering that circle. So yes, dealing with this circle in the middle, I probably would do better of, just doing that right across, some stripes, covering those completely. I've used those too much, and that's why I'm just trying to stay away from them. Now, I love the hexagons, but did I use them in the best way? There's so many choices, so many possibilities. So I give it a go here with the hexagons and the same white paint, of course. This time I'm trying to make sure, those are the makeup sponges, that they're not damp or anything, they're just dry. And still, let's see how it goes. Just to see the idea of it. And if I like it, then I can worry about using the right paint. I like how it's very thin, this layer. And that's another thing too. When you're working on just going in and veiling things, use a thin layer at first. Then if it's working, then you can go in and add second or third layers, depending on the opacity that you want or not. So trying to come over and down, and that's sort of interesting. Does it work? I don't know. Huge high contrast there. It is eliminating the yellow big square. I guess I'm just not used to so much yellow, and why not go with it? I don't know. What do you think? Because I know a lot of you, what is she doing? She's covering the yellow with the white. I wouldn't do that. So I changed my mind. Wipe it off. And making sure your cloth is clean. This is just a J cloth. But sometimes I'm not totally, I should have 2 or 3 of them there. That was a day today. Rubbing, bumping into paint. It was just one of those days, making a mess. But we love it, right? Life is messy, so is our art. It reflects what we do. And so I'm probably sitting there staring at this thing going, what am I going to do? So, drying, getting any of that black residue off. As you can see, I'm rubbing a bit of that black off. And then I decide, okay, let's just go in with this thin deli wrap paper, go right over the yellow and see what happens. I know I'll be able to see the other circles underneath. I like the cropping, so that's what I'm thinking of when I'm cutting those edges of those circles away. And I end up doing it. But then does the rest of the piece need more black and white, etc.? Not bad. Energetically, is it working? Is it working with value? There's such a huge contrast with the black beside it. And I wanted some of it to go over the edge just to do something. Okay. It's not bad. I know, so I know that lower right-hand corner needs something. There's a feel that I'm looking for. Those are my little organic circles. So I'm going to go in with a white maybe a blue, maybe more yellow. Hard to say. Oh, I'm looking for my sponge that disappeared on my table, so I grabbed a new one. Oh, and there's that paper. I just love the subtlety, but, oh, I see what I'm doing. Yes. So I end up putting it up higher. So positioning, huge. So now I've got a yellow square, a long rectangle on the left, a long one on the top, the little orange one on the bottom right. Now there's a stronger rectangle square language going on. And there's the number 2. I'm liking its curvature and its corners and edges, but I really like it on its side. It's just a sticker that I'm going to stamp around in a gray, and we'll see how this looks. So I'm doing a negative shape. I think a white shape would have looked better now that in hindsight. I love the challenges that our art brings to us. It's really amazing, the things that a little messy there. That's okay. I think I rub it. And that's what happens. This cloth gets all black because that's the area that I'm doing a lot of rubbing. And it's okay. What I do here, it's just what else? What else would be interesting? Shapes, textures. That's sort of cool, actually. Do I want to do it again? If something works, do more of it. So 22, 2. It's supposed to be a really good number for me. I don't know if any of you are into numbers or astrological stuff. It's numbers have a lot of resonance. So I felt it was too much, so I'm just putting 1 down there, which ends up disappearing anyway. For those of you who are wondering, what is she going to cover up now? And you're wondering, okay, what am I going to do with that big white piece with the black circles? It's going to go right smack dab in the middle as soon as this black dries. So I can't seem to get past that edge where the yellow and the black meet, which is a very high contrast. So knowing that clearly now, I think the next layer with this paper does add some interest and alleviates it a little bit. And I think just because of the subtlety and the color, it's an interesting piece of paper. And that's it for this week. Part 1 of the 12 by 12 Abstract Mixed Media. I'll see you next week for part 2. So stay tuned and don't forget to like and share and subscribe.